YouTube, it's Brian Phillips. We got the F-16 70 millimeters re-release from E-flite here with a little bit bigger motor. This has been out for just a few months now. We've done this plane a couple of times, but it's got a little bit more power. We're flying on 4000 6S, but you can also fly it on 3200 6S as well. Looks just like this pack. We're doing Gen 2. Don't need the balance lead for a voltage alarm because we got telemetry and thrusty reverse. Yeah, baby. All right, we're gonna get set and come right back. All right, guys, here we go. Getting into the throttle hard. Oh yeah, easy to get off the ground. Gear going up. Out of the throttle hard. Whoa. Oh yeah, look at that, guys. Looks so sweet. Okay, hard on the throttle. There it is, guys. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful, fantastic experience. A little bit of light, but somewhat directional wind, almost bird strike, barely given elevator input. The extra juice really does help on this thing. Okay, so not the craziest roll rate we've ever seen, guys. If you're looking for higher performance, just to let you know, it already exists in the 80. One of my favorite F-16s I've flown, but look how dang good that thing looks. We're giving our excavator a little peep show as they're supposed to be working for me right now, digging a pond. Oh yeah, I found the only cloud in the sky.
Thank you.
Beautiful, coming downhill, barreling down, full throttle. There it is, guys. And I gotta say, okay, so let's do some safe action. Okay, so I'm out of the throttle some, about like 12, 13, 15, 25%. We're just gonna bring it around, guys. Let's let go of the sticks. Safe is gonna automatically level the plane, you let go, although we are pitch up just a little bit. Okay, so coming out of safe, we're gonna get hard on the throttle, a little bit of rudder and aileron in to that beautiful pass. Looking at the shadow on the ground to help with reference. And here we go, down the chute. Absolutely gorgeous, guys. Okay, pulling hard. Sorry, camera crew, coming downhill, barreling. Oh yeah. So guys, if you haven't flown the 70 millimeter EDF, if you haven't flown a 70 millimeter EDF, I'm gonna tell you it's a close toss up for most guys between this and the Viper. Once you get past the Hambu is the undoubted and very unabashed beginner EDF jet. Guys, look at this hole I'm gonna stick it in. Oh, so beautiful. Man, I love looking at the way that thing comes through. And by the way, you can high alpha with this thing, but I'm gonna try to get out of this high alpha so I don't waste all my battery. We do have voltage alarm, excuse me, not voltage alarm, but voice warnings coming at 3.4 per cell or individual cell. That's through the smart ESC, which yes, we do have thrust reverse with pilot fatigue, but you gotta have a little juice left. So in that case, I'm gonna go ahead and show a landing gear coming out. Remember, no flaps on this plane by default. You can reprogram the ESC, but I wanted to show it virgin first. If we add flaperons, which to be honest, you shouldn't have to add, we will show it. Okay, so that was, oh yeah, that was crazy. Okay, so I don't know if you guys noticed that when I gave it pilot fatigue, the thing set up on its legs. That was so cool, and I think it was just the nature of the way the wind is. Now our battery is not dead. Let's go back here in the shade. Full disclosure, we got 1 minute and 33 left. I'm gonna go to the telemetry and show you one thing I did off camera. Smart battery, I shut these off because those warnings are so annoying. I don't put in uncharged batteries and I don't care about mismatch. Overcharge never happened to me, and then imbalance I don't care about. Let the smart battery take care of it. But I do have voice call outs at 3.4. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off. We'll probably get a short sorties. I'll pause, make sure we don't have any damage and show you. Okay, checking for damage. No damage here, but you guys saw one of the pinnacle issues of the F-16s. That is the narrow gear set, which by the way, these are beautiful retracts. Spring loaded on all three. Beautiful, right? Yep. Okay, so I also just noticed I need to flip my gear so that it's the other way around. But I'm gonna reset and come back. Okay, full disclosure, all the dinking around moving stuff, I'm gonna hit clear. Oh, that was a 5-minute timer, but we had a 1.5 minutes left, so we did 3.5 minutes already. And what I wanna do is I wanna show you what I did off camera for a second there. Servo setup, travel, reverse. And then if you wanna switch the direction, you can do it while you're on your legs. Okay, so switch, this is where I want it. Switch it, do it quick, and it won't actually actuate your gear, okay? So that's what I did while it was on its legs. No big deal. And then let's scroll over to telemetry. There you go. Okay, so we got enough juice to do one quick sorties. Now I'm gonna have to be a little bit energy efficient on this because I wanna save some for the thrust reverse. And that's the deal breaker for me. If I don't have flaps, I gotta pretty much do thrust reverse on jets because this runway is just not long enough. When we've got wind and we have a cherry at the end, that cherry's actually getting moved. And you could see it now, thank God. In a few weeks, we're gonna be able to see the other 2 obstructions that are directly to the left behind it, about 30 feet.
Yep.
And then further to the left, it's shorter though, okay? So just keep in mind, when you see me janking around stuff, it's because I know there's trees there, but I can't see them very good, okay? Also, my balls got lasered the other day. If you wanna hear more about that, stay tuned for the Unbox Build radio setup. All right, here we go. Full throttle. Nah, we're gonna do less, okay? No flaps, throttle cuts off. Here we go. Oh yes, gear going up. This is what it looks like to do an efficiency pass in my brain.
Seems all right.
Okay, hard on the throttle. We're gonna do one pass through the low point, okay? And then we're gonna go around and set up for landing right away. Okay. You ready? Mm-hmm. This thing is it just does good. It feels stable. The other day we did another competitive offering. Not sure what order you're gonna see them in. Oh, they'll see the F-35, right?
Yes, they will first.
Yeah, totally different flying experience. This thing is so much better in terms of control. It's also a lot more plain, admittedly. Okay, so we're gonna slow down, be ready for pilot fatigue. We're gonna try to relax into, yeah, we're like way too high. Out of the gear. We are just way too steep, okay? See, the problem is when it's windy like this, oh, and by the way, that 4,000 is basically bumping into the shelf right in front of the receiver. Okay, so gear coming out, 4,000 6S. Smart pack. Okay, look at this, guys. I wanna get into high alpha, but I just don't know if I'm gonna get it in time. There it is. Oh, pilot fatigue! Thank goodness for pilot fatigue, folks. If you don't know how to set up pilot fatigue, I have controllable thrust reverse here, where I can just move the stick. That's thrust reverse. Or I can go pilot fatigue. Okay? So if you guys are curious how to set that up and you wanna follow along, look no further than the Unbox Build radio setup, which came out right before this video. If you can't find the video you're looking for on Brian Phillips RC, head over to brianphillipsrc.com. That's our domain, spelled exactly the same as this channel, B-R-I-A-N, Phillips, P-H-I-L-L-I-P-S, RC.com. You can check out the thousands of videos sorted by type, brand, or affiliate, and you should be able to find what you need pretty easy. Now, if we've done a couple of the same plane, like this one we've done a number of times with different releases, then you'll be able to find it that way pretty easy. If you have additional questions, leave them in the comments below. The F-16 70, a lot of people say it's a first-time beginner plane. I don't say that. And I sometimes beat everybody else over the head with that because we don't say a lot of planes are great for beginners. But the truth is, if I'm picking between this and the Viper 70, I'm going Viper 70 all day because the inboard flaps. But the Viper 70 will fall out from under itself a lot worse if you have a base leg final where you have to take a turn real sharp at the end, which we do sometimes because we'll come in here and base leg. That UPS stick, that anti-UPS, FedEx, DHL, USPS stick, whatever idiot decides to drive off our yard, you know, like every couple of months. It's just dry, no problem. And then it rains and then everybody decides to drive off the driveway. So we put that up, it doesn't really even stop it. Then they drive off the other side, which they did the last time. Okay, so speaking of this plane compared to the Viper, I love the way the Viper flies. I think it's every bit as good. A little bit harder on cable management. I felt this thing went together really easy this time.
It did.
So they had worked out some of the complaints we had, I would say. I really like the plane. I love the looks. I love the F-16. But I'm gonna just tell you this. I want you guys to hear me when I say this and not hear it wrong. If you want a good F-16 experience and you don't want this, don't miss the 80. The 80 is more detailed, more feature driven, feature packed, full functioning televators, or not televators, but stabilators. And then of course it's gonna give you enough channels on the 8360T out of the box to do all sorts of different mixes where you could do televons, you can do flaperons, all that stuff, really easy out of the box with the factory options that are installed. Now, we didn't change any of the factory options. I would have liked to see flaps only because of our approach, okay? Most guys are gonna come into, you know, a pretty open field. You're gonna have a long ways to develop your landing, and then you can get into that beautiful flare and high alpha out of it. You got plenty of power to get out of a high alpha now, which is really handy, okay? Now, also flying on a 3200 is gonna give you a little bit more light on its feet, F-16. If you are a beginner, the smaller pack is definitely what I would suggest. Keep the CG toward the tail heavy side, which is unusual because normally you want to be nose heavy if you're a beginner, but you got to be able to flare with no flaps to slow this plane down. If you don't do that and you can't do that, or you don't want to do it that way, make sure you at least set up thrust reverse. But again, that's complicated for a beginner, okay? I don't want you to depend on thrust reverse. But guys, I'm going to tell you, having telemetry is huge. Knowing where your pack is, and not just a voltage alarm that beeps when you get one pack that sags down for 3 seconds, okay? I'm talking about telemetry that actually tells you good information, okay? So I really, really, really like the smart technology. I don't just like the safety features built into the batteries, which I do really enjoy. I love the fact that they auto discharge, but there are some weaknesses, and the weaknesses hit when you compare them against a high volt pack. They're not the same technology, okay? So if you're comparing high volt packs to regular packs, even if they're smart or dumb, doesn't matter. The point is high volt packs produce a higher voltage, so you're gonna get better performance unless you have problems with the ESCs, which you might. So I can't speak to it because I don't use them myself, although I can tell you this, the guys that use them swear by them. So I'm not trying to poo-poo that. I'd like to get my hands on some and see how they do side by side. The other thing is the smart packs do tend to do really good in prop planes, and we have seen that more often we've had issues, it's been in jets, okay? Especially twins, okay? Now, I don't think it has anything to do with smart circuit, I just think it has to do with the capacity and sizing of the packs, okay? Not capacity in terms of milliamp hours, but capacity of their offering, okay? All right, so do I like the F-16? Absolutely, love it. Love the Thunderbirds. Livery, it's beautiful. You have to put 1,000,000 stars on the tail. Other than that, the build went super smooth, super easy. You should see how bad it was on the UMX back in the day. You had to put 1,000,000 stickers on that thing. That was terrible. And they had a little diagram. They didn't have a diagram on this one, but on the front of the box, you can see the tail really good. So use that. Guys, stay tuned. Unboxed build radio setup should already be published. If you're curious how this went together, you can see a little bit more and hear a little bit more about our findings on this plane. Landing gear are fine. Just remember, everything that's good about this plane, it's not just a little better, it's a huge amount better on the 80. That's not to take anything away from this because it's a totally different price point, but they fly on the same battery, which means you need the same charger, and you're probably gonna use the same transmitter. So don't poo-poo that detail, it's a big detail, okay? So this is starting to be in no man's land if you can put that 80 up against it. The 80 is a lot bigger, it's a lot more money, but it flies on similar battery, easier to load the battery, amazing landing gear. Beautiful landing lights. When you open the gear, it's right down here. It looks so gorgeous. And of course, nav lights, day bright. I mean, there's so many things. I could go on and on about it because it's like one of my favorite jets. Okay, I have a lot of jets. And also I grew up watching F-16s fly around here, if you guys didn't already hear that. And so my Navy livery, I made the 132nd Squadron on my tail. So, I mean, it looks just like the ones I watched growing up. I lived near the airport and we used to watch 4 or 6 of them every time somebody would be flying by. Okay, hold on, here they come. Here they come. And you'd have to do that all day long because they just like constantly fly over and they're so loud. But it was awesome, totally worth it. And yes, I do work at the airport occasionally professionally. And I remember seeing the afterburners at night when they're taking off and doing sorties. Oh my goodness. It made it worth being there at midnight. It was awesome. Especially if it was snowing and stuff. It's so cool. So anyway, guys, I got a special sweet spot in my heart for the 80 because it's probably one of my favorite jets, okay? So if you hear me compare the two, like redheaded stepchild, don't hear me wrong. I just I want to put it in context, okay? Everybody has favorites, even Brian, okay? If you guys have questions, leave them in the comments below. If you want to support us, buy this from the links. You will really support us the best by doing that. If you like this plane or if you want the 80, the links will bring you to both, okay? If you want a UMX when they come out, you can get that too from the same links. I don't know when that's gonna happen, but truth is, I love this plane. I think it's a great beginner-esque plane, meaning second, third EDF, in my opinion, you'd be fine. But the Habu is hands down the best choice. And people ask me all the time, Habu 50, Habu STS, or Habu SS? Habu 50, cheap batteries, perfect flight experience, very similar to the other two, okay? And then from there, jump straight into the planes, okay? Sorry, Horizon. STS is fine, but it's got the complicated, weird receiver with like the landing aid sensor. Ugh, I'm not gonna use that. I don't think you should either. Use safe if you need it. That's where it should stop, okay? That thing flies like slower than prop planes. You'll be fine, trust me. My wife has flown it, okay? Right?
No.
I crashed mine into the house, it was hilarious.
Our son flies it and
okay.
can fly it.
So she'll fly it someday.
Very easily.
SS, amazing, super fun. If you want an everyday flyer, you can toss in the car. Don't worry about road, well, not road rash, but that would probably take it out. But if you're talking about hangar rash, that plane will do fine. So beautiful plane, really fun. Beautiful plane in most aspects. But the F-16, amazing, you'll love it. It does great, it does everything you expect, and with a little bit more power, you're gonna be happy with it. All right, guys, that's all we got for you today. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being part of our little RC clan here on BrianPhillipsRC.com. You can check out other planes we've done, and there are thousands of them. So if you need help sorting, don't feel bad. You can sort by playlist on YouTube, or you can sort by our lists that are sorted by type and manufacturer, affiliate, all that stuff. Again, if you want to support us with Patreon for monthly support or YouTube members for monthly support, we appreciate you guys being part of our lives, but we still are going to come back to even you and say the best way to support us is to buy planes, get in the air, fly with us, not watching us, okay? But if you just can't, maybe you got issues that you don't want to elaborate on a comment, that's fine. It's here for you. You asked for years, so we did it. I didn't want to do it. My wife told me, we got to do it. Too many people are asking. I said, fine, whatever. But we do really appreciate you guys. It's given a venue for connection with people that really support us, and we appreciate that. Okay, now also YouTube super thanks for people that don't want to do monthly stuff. Maybe you got a regular income, you're an hourly guy like me, you're not sure how your next paycheck's gonna look, unless you're working your tail off, it's pretty good. You're not working your tail off, it's not so good. We get it. So there's one-time donations, and then PayPal if you don't like any of those. But the truth is the single best way to help Brian Phillips RC is watch the videos all the way through, which happens like once every century for most of our users, and then smash the like button and buy the planes that you love.
And if you're looking for this plane and you're overseas, we do have a Horizon EU link.
Yep.
If you just click on the link right at the top of the video.
That's the master link.
That's the master link, but just go down a couple more and it'll say Horizon EU.
Yep.
And you can check it there.
Yep, and that's how you can buy it to support us. And we really appreciate you guys doing that, because really that helps the RC ecosystem to keep churning, okay? And we need stuff for content, but really what we want is we want to know, like, is this actually better or is it just like gimmick? I feel like this one is marginally better. It's not like a whole new V release, but it does have a slightly better motor. I didn't think it was like like night and day difference. So I don't want you guys to hear me wrong, but there's a little bit more to get out of that high alpha, which is a lifesaver on landings. I need some time to develop that, play with it. This is a true Maiden. When you guys see me fly, keep in mind, it's a first time, second time, third time flight on the most egregious, okay? Sometimes 4 or 5 flights if we have to do a bunch of setup changes. But the truth is, we are Maidening these planes. So compare your 75th plane or your 75th flight to my Maiden, and you can do the math, okay? It's not that hard to figure out if you've been flying planes for a while. Maidens are usually your worst flight, but they are also some of the most telling flights. Because if it's a turd, you're gonna find out really quick.
Yeah.
So we like to rule out turds, or at least let you know. You can make a decision. Hey, this is a turd, you're gonna have to work on it. But you can turn turds into works of art if you're into that sort of thing. Could be kind of stinky. All right, with that deep, meaningful content out of the way, Brian Phillips RC is gonna sign out now. We really appreciate you guys being here. Hopefully we'll see you at Null. Are they gonna see this before Null?
Probably not.
Okay, if you see this after Null, we had a great time seeing you at Null. Null 24, or maybe we saw you at Null 23. Either way, Joe Null, South Carolina, Triple Tree. Amazing experience, so much fun. One of the best RC experiences you can have, and it's huge, and I know huge. We're talking 10,000 people sleeping on the premises of a 400-acre aerodrome. Oh, by the way, real quick, we'll just go this way. Oh, speaking of aerodromes, look what's happening here, guys. Walk up there, let's give them a quick shot. Yeah, so aerodromes, I have a newfound respect for those that are crazy enough to build aerodromes on their backyard, because we're learning that it is both an amazing, thrilling experience, and it's very expensive, okay?
Yep.
So yep, that's the crew working in our yard. Okay, guys, I hate to bait you like that. Kind of like it actually this time. But the truth is we have tons of footage and we will share the entire build at some point, but it's gotta be done. It's not done yet. And you guys have just gotten tidbits, but it sounds like a construction site because it is. So we hope you guys appreciate that. And we have the damn runway done that's gonna take us to the damn gift shop, that's gonna take us out from the helipad in the extended runway. Haha, look, that would have been just fine if we had that extended now. It's gonna be amazing. We can't wait to share every step of the process. And if you guys stay till the end, that's when these little tidbit Easter eggs come. So thanks for watching, guys. So much more to come from Brian Phillips RC. We hope you'll be here on our next video, and it's right around the corner, so stay tuned, and thanks for watching. Okay, so we're gonna fly this again, 3200 6S right now. We're gonna see how it works. Now, I do admittedly have it far back, almost exactly like the 4S, or excuse me, the 4000 6S, but we're gonna see if that works. Now, the lighter pack still being back forward is gonna lend itself to a little bit tail heavy, but I wanna be able to final that way and get into flare. So we'll set and come back. All right, so here goes nothing, guys. In the air, gear up, janking it flat and level. A little bit of roll tendency. Yeah, it definitely feels like the elevator is wanting to make it climb right now. See that, how it's just pulling out of that dive? Feels really agile right now, and even with the wind, feels very manageable. AS3X and safe, make this thing a breeze to fly. Now remember, this is a 50C pack. Not that it's really a huge difference. Between a 30C, you're not gonna see, you know, like night and day performance difference. But I definitely can tell you that this F-16 likes to be able to get into the flare for landing. And that's the thing, is you get this turbulent wind and you get into these slow flight performances. Where the sun is, it looks gorgeous too, by the way. But I want to see if I can get this thing, ooh yeah, kicked around. Around the cherry. You guys see what's happening? I get that updraft as soon as I get into my final, and it's like I've consumed all the area. I just want to see. Man, it's so beautiful. A lot of turbulence right there. I want to try just a lower speed pass here. Okay, going up and then yawing over and then through the low point. You guys see what I'm talking about? It's not cruising like crazy fast. Camera crew is gonna go back about 4 steps toward the place, toward the house. There you go. Down the runway. So if you guys have never flown this, and you've never had to do it in some mild turbulence, I'd be surprised, but man, there's a lot of rotor coming off of these trees today. And you guys see that getting kicked? Pop my canopy off when I bumped. Okay, so I want to talk about something that just happened. My throttle cut's on, and pilot fatigue is not quite as much as the controllable. I think I need to make an adjustment because I have an offset set Are you out of the glare? You need to hold still so I can get in your shadow. Okay, so I'm gonna go down here. What the heck? Oh, the forward programming is coming up and going away because it's losing signal. You see that?
Oh, yeah.
But it's all right. I can go down to mixing still. Let's go closer to the plane. See, because that's actually communicating with the receiver. And what it does is it communicates all the data back and forth, and then it writes it to the memory. So even if you lose connection, it's not like you lose your settings. By the way, bouncing off of here is what popped the canopy, if you will. And I think that's gonna be resolved by putting the battery in a slightly different position. You guys see what I did there? That lead, it's not touching, but it's really close here. And so when I snap this down, I must not have verified it snapped all the way. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, now it's not moving around. You see how it's just solid now?
I gotta get a focus, there you go.
So it's not jumping around now. So let's go into this mix that I made. I have to put throttle cuts on. I'm gonna go to the G switch all the way back toward us. This is pilot fatigue. There we go, guys. That's what I need to do. Because I noticed we were a little bit lame on our thrust reverse. And so now that we have that resolved, we'll see if we can get another landing. Kind of like what we did earlier today. We're gonna go ahead and take it up. We're gonna try flaring and doing all that. I just feel like the trade-off to be able to get the CG back to get into a flare like this, we have to go through turbulence that you're probably not gonna have to go through to get to our landing strip. And I think that's what's complicating things, because even though the flag makes it look like it's going this way, it's going this way around the building. So we got to deal with that. And that's just part of flying, is you got to learn your terrain and figure out where the wind is going to like to carry. So here in a couple months, when all these trees have leaves on them, hopefully, then it's going to change it again and we'll have to respond. Okay, so we're going to pause, reset way back there, and then take off. Okay, so our battery is at like 30 to 40% here. We're gonna try to get it to focus. Full disclosure, when you guys see us struggling to get our camera to focus during bright times, I can always see it fine in person. It's just a little hard to pick up on camera. All right, guys, I set it way down there. We got plenty of power to take off. We're gonna try to go around and see if the thrust reverse works better for us this time. Here we go. 3200 6S, almost all the way back. Very easy to control. In the air, gear up. Slowing it down. About 50% throttle here. We're gonna go out and around over the top of the turbulent spot. We're gonna go way out. I'm gonna take a slightly different angle here, camera crew. Okay, gear coming out. Let me just try to hit this hole, guys. Okay, manned aircraft as in a helicopter, pretty close. I'm not sure how far away. But yeah, I like that line. So we'll go ahead and take that line if we can get it again.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just go out here so I can see a little bit better down this opening, okay? Gear coming out, 50% throttle, taking a nice relaxed turn. Johnny on the spot with the throttle. Yeah, it does look like we're flying through the trees because we are, in fact, flying through the trees. Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Oh, 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 dang it. Okay, so that's what happens sometimes. And guys, I'm telling you, you just got to get it exactly right, because the grass hops do not necessarily agree with this. And look what happened. I lost my tip right here. I ripped off one and then basically toppled over. Now, on most circumstances, that'd be no big deal. Hey, finally we broke. We broke the tip. I told you that'd be the first thing to break. And mine was kind of bent, so I don't really care. It's gone forever. As far as I'm concerned, dead to me. But the truth is, that thing just basically flipped, okay? That's a little bit of a bummer, but that can be glued back, okay? So all I'm gonna say is, we just got enough conditional impact that I'm not getting the flared landing I want, okay? You guys probably can't tell, but I could probably let go of this with that gust it just took, okay? So that's what's pushing us off course. You get this thing slow, you get it in high alpha, you have plenty of rudder authority, but that does not stop you from getting drifted off to the side. And you guys see right here, we're getting wind here, but we don't get wind back there. Problem is you can't sink low enough to hit that low point that I really want to hit down there, because you're going down in grade like about, 7 or 8 feet. Makes a big difference. Yeah. So even though we can get out here, take off, make that nice high bank turn, we're underneath the rotor of those trees, which is that turbulent air over the top. So we can make it look good. But then when we come into land, even though I've got a nice hole I can try to hit here, there's no way to get into flare and time it right. Hence the damn runway, which we're building right now. Well, technically we're building the dam, not the damn runway, but that will come soon. Okay. Oh, and by the way, here's the red thing.
Oh.
I did find it. Okay, so let's put this back on. So obviously that protected us from having a bunch of damage, and this will go back in, but it's gonna get lost about as quick as it goes back in. Okay, so let's talk about overall damage from that tip over. It's always frustrating when you get those missiles. They will do that. They will dive into the ground. They'll catch debris. They'll do all the things you don't want them to. But one thing you can do too is if you don't want to have to fight that at the flight field, like say you don't want to fix this, then you can just slide these off, okay? So pretty easy to fix. This one just got a little bend in it, so that's pretty much done, okay? But I would definitely, like this just needs to be re-glued. So we're gonna re-glue that with some China glue or some foam to foam. And then this one here, we'll re-glue the tip, and then it's gonna be golden and ready to go. And we'll probably try another flight and come right back. All right, so we're gonna try this on 4000 6S. The wind is just kind of shifty tonight, and so I'm trying something a little different with this F-16. I'm riding it a little bit further forward, about an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch off from where we had marked it here, okay? That's definitely where I would do it if it was dead calm, but we just got too much turbulence, too much rotor from the trees, and we're gonna try this and see if it helps. Also, we did one change on our thrust reverse. We're gonna show you that before we take off. Okay, so our thrust reverse mixing, I realized maybe I just needed a little bit more. Throttle cut is on, by the way. I changed this from 50 to minus 50 to minus 100. That's gonna give us more amplitude of thrust reverse when we do deploy it for pilot fatigue, okay? So now in the controllable mode, we were always able to go full bore. And we're also gonna change sides. Oh, it's a bald eagle over there. That's so cool. Yeah, but we're gonna take off. We're gonna do some passes this direction, which you guys almost never see here. By the way, you can see the pond over here. Mm-hmm. That's new and exciting. All right, throttle cuts off. Here we go. 4000 6S this time, 70 millimeter. F-16. There it is, in the air, no problem. Should fly a little bit more stable now. Now that we have the battery forward a little bit, okay? Okay, let's jank it here. Oh yeah, we got pretty good up still, pretty good elevator authority. I can live with that. Try to hit this hole here that we usually use for landings. About 20% throttle, just bringing it down to planet Earth here. A little harder on the rudder to help me make that turn. Do a high-speed pass. As you can see, guys, it's a tight hole. It's generally the way we like it, but when it's tight like that, sorry, camera crew. It's okay. When it's tight like that, it can cause other dilemmas, okay? Okay, we're gonna try pass here. We're going inside and down the runway, okay? Mm-hmm. Here we are. I don't know where that tree is relative to where I was. Man, it looks so good close like this. Keeping it upside down, a little bit of upside down, just so I can get out there where I wanna be. It's actually pretty quiet plane, like you can't hear it very good. Yeah, it is. Hard to tell the throttle position from the sound. Ah, near bird strike again. That's 3 times today. Man, that looks gorgeous, guys. Gotta love it, gotta love it. Couple of barrel rolls. Okay, now I'm gonna try for a high-speed pass. You good? Mm-hmm. Full throttle, guys, full throttle. Whoa! You see my missile? My missile's lifted.
Oh, okay, I'll keep an eye on it.
I'm not really worried about losing it. I'm just thinking I don't want to have to rip. I don't want to have to go find it.
Yeah.
Oh man, I lost my orientation when I went past the sun. That was not good. And do you feel that wind?
Yeah, that
kind
was
of a
also
little
not
bit
good.
gusty. Okay, so we're gonna just we're just gonna try this. We're gonna try landing it. Broadside with that nice sunlight. Get out of the throttle. Bring it down to planet Earth. We're gonna try to land it. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that missile. You guys see that?
Oh yeah.
See that missile?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so guys, full disclosure, that's the one I just re-glued because I flipped it on the last approach. Okay. Just bringing it out here. I'm gonna go behind the camera crew just a little bit. Okay, gear coming out. We're gonna try to hit this hole, guys. We got lots of crosswind, folks. Crazy crosswind. See that, guys? Okay, that sucked. All right, let's go look at the damage. Throttle cut is on. I tried getting into the controllable thrust reverse just to see if I could slow it down and talk about a jank landing. But to be honest, it's not terrible on the damage. And we probably pushed our missile back that was bending on us. See this? Broke that. This is the one that was lifting on us. So guys, there you have it. I just think that's a lot of crosswind. I'm just not having it happen tonight. It's very disappointing. We got pretty good footage this morning, but I think on 4000 6S, you're gonna be fine to fly in normal circumstances. And a little bit of bend.
Yep.
Let's see if we can unbend it. Yep, we can unbend it, guys. So that's one of the best parts of dealing with foam planes is that they do sometimes get a little hanger rash and stuff, but then you can stick them back together and get right back in the air if you want. My concern is that our glue maybe just isn't quite where it needs to be for that to hold steady. So what I'm gonna do is I can pull that off. You guys can see what I'm talking about. I'm not sure why it's wanting to lift. I mean, we did some pretty high speed passes, and then obviously this fin is gonna be no longer. It's gonna totally break off, so I'll just put that in my pocket. But final thoughts on this F-16. It's not the first time we've done it. I really enjoy flying jets when I have the wind going down the runway. Look, there's an imposter cat.
Oh, there is.
You see that? The cat must have been scared by the artillery that
Maybe
we were,
so.
the looming disastrous attack from the Thunderbirds.
That cat's been chilling here for a while.
That's right. So a couple things to keep in mind when you're flying with a big crosswind like this. Sometimes it's gonna veer you off course, and there's not a lot you can do with it. And you probably don't understand unless you've been here flying. That runway, 275 feet, is probably a little on the short side, even with thrust reverse, when you've got such strong crosswind, because you gotta carry a lot of speed to get it down to the ground. And missing that little void there, that dip like that, and all the trees and the wind and the turbulence,
Yep.
It really adds up to a complex landing. Now, have I made decent landings before? Yeah, once in a while I do. But I can tell you this, I go out to the main runway there, and it's no problem putting this thing up and down, even with a little bit of crosswind, which is admittedly what we ought to do real quick. In fact, let's pause, we'll do it. All right, guys, just to show you, big runway equals easier success, I hope. Okay, getting her in the air, out of the gear, getting out of the throttle reasonably quick, going over that beautiful house there. Geese, attack, geese. Gear coming out. Okay, now we'll work with the crosswind here. Look at this, guys, look how easy this is now. Get into ground effect, there it is. Pilot fatigue. Okay, good deal. So there it is. See, easy peasy when you got a huge runway, or like maybe you fly from a full-scale strip, like I know some people do, and you could literally land sideways. There you go, guys. Beautiful. Okay, this usually cue the point where I way overdo it and crash. Gear coming out. We're gonna try another landing. So folks, it's all about crosswind. It's all about getting lined up. And by the way, I am further forward. Remember? Okay, so here we go. So, see? Pilot fatigue it. You see how it flared up like that? Oh, that's so awesome. Okay, now controllable thrust reverse. Or wait, should I just take off? We still have power. I'm gonna go. Camera crew's cringing, as she should.
Seems
Gear up.
familiar.
50% throttle. Try to complete this turn. Oh yeah, so gorgeous. Okay, coming around, I have to try to control where I am for airspace reasons. No flaps, gear. And we'll put it down. Hey, camera crew, check over my shoulder, please.
You're good. They're on the gravel drive.
Yep. There we go. And then flare, and then pull up hard on the elevator, and pilot fatigue. So as you guys can see, I just want to point out, sometimes, you know, it's like not everything we do on this channel causes things to be more difficult than they could be, but many times they're caused because of where we're flying. If you have a big enough real estate to take off and land, just to let you know, that's about 1,200 feet from there to the bend, okay? 1,200 feet gives you a ton of real estate, folks. And so this plane will do fine as long as you have enough real estate. And the same is true for the 80. The same is true for most jets, okay? But when you're trying to land on an aircraft carrier, it takes a lot more skill, which I don't always have. And then this topo change makes a big difference. It really does. Because right here, you've got a flat, at least as wide as the road is, area for the laminar wind to flow, okay? So as you can see, we got just a little bit more juice. One more.
Just not quite enough.
Okay, gear going up. We're gonna flank back and then do a pass right in front of us.
Okay.
A little bit of rudder, get that nose pointed downhill. Efficiency mode. You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then we're gonna go up, bleed off inertia, out of throttle, gear coming down. A little bit of throttle, get that thing flying, get that thing flying. Aim for the sign, aim for the sign, aim for the sign. Hold it up, and then pilot fatigue. Okay, pull up elevator, a little bit of jank just to slow it down, and as you can see, we still have power. Evidently, we have unlimited power.
Watch the car.
Okay. Okay, so this is the time of the video where camera crew warns me about not having enough battery. And I say, but look, there's a bar there. See, it's a bar right there. This is where I get ready to crash. And then this is where the cries and tearing comes from. Okay, gear up, bank efficiency mode, about 50%, 30%, 20%. Okay, so we'll just do a nice little glide. Oh man, that's orgasmically good looking. Okay, I was gonna give a massage to the road, and I decided against it. Okay, gear. Now watch this, guys. Keep it flying, keep it flying. You gotta fly it sometimes, guys. Okay, now watch this. Flare, 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 flare. There it is. And pilot fatigue. So as you can see, even here where it's flat and quite easy to land, and we're hitting right on the center of the crown of the road, it's just not that bad to get off and then get landed. Efficiency style, okay? You wanna do a takeoff with the wind? Just to prove that I was not quite yet wrong.
Just wait till the car comes. So we're just gonna do this till
I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna call it, because I don't want to destroy this battery. It is a relatively new 4000, okay? So I've got, you know, probably 10, 15 flights on it, so I don't want to totally destroy it. Thoughts on this plane: have the real estate, she'll perform well, okay? That's the same for other planes, which kind of makes me think about the other one we need to do. We'll just come down here. We'll use the big, glorious D road. This was a gravel road, and then they paved it, okay? Because they needed to get the dead people to the place where they put them.
Yep.
I'm serious. It wasn't for us.
No.
We were just lucky benefactors of the dead. So out of respect for the dead, we will support the armed services that protect this county, right? Or some such thing. I don't know. These are Thunderbirds. So guys, the 70 millimeter, really fun. I think what's gonna happen is once we get, and I'm dead serious, this is what you guys don't see, okay? When we're landing, that's the cherry that's in the background. And then this one's, is that a black walnut?
Yeah.
So that one's gonna get moved hopefully. And then those ones are actually under where we're flying. These aren't gonna be a problem because if I hit that on final, I've crashed already or I'm in the process.
Right.
That one there is gonna be the next one to be the next big problem, okay? Yeah. And so that's still way above a glide slope of like probably 2% or 1%. I mean, it's really, you'd have to be really low. Yep. But when we go to hit that hole, this hole is big, but we're going at such a steep angle by the time we see it that we're way out over there.
And then you're over the road, and then if you were down in the ditch, you wouldn't be able to see you, and then you're going back up the hill, so the wind just does wonky
The wind does
things
wonk things. It's very bad, and then of course the sun plays tricks too, especially if your balls have been lasered recently.
I don't have that problem.
I'm not talking about you. I'm saying generically for the audience that's watching us at home. If your balls have been lasered recently, like mine have, this one, you know, you'll have issues.
How long are we doing that?
So everybody at home, if you want to help support Brian Phillips RC and the things we do, all you have to do is look no further than the links in the video description below. It's the easiest way to support us. We keep the RC ecosystem juices flowing. And if there's something that we do on Brian Phillips RC, it's keeping the juices flowing. If you don't want to support us in that way, we understand. Smash the like button if you don't mind. Click the bell for notifications when you do subscribe. And there's also super thanks, one-time support through YouTube. And then there's YouTube members, Patreon for monthly support, just like YouTube members, except it'd be through Patreon. And then of course, PayPal if you want to do something totally different and off the wall. But, and I'm saying it again, the best way to support us is when you see a plane you love, support us, support the people we work with, and bring the best quality RC content in long format. Every once in a while we throw a short in just to make sure that YouTube doesn't fire us, okay? We don't do that because that's our plan for the long game, you know? We're not going to shorts anytime soon. We might have some shorts involved, but it's gonna be from long format content that's always available. So guys, if you wanna see how we built this, we have the Unbox Build radio set up. If you wanna see how we fixed it, we didn't fix this on camera because it was like literally I glued a missile back together. And I don't even know if you're gonna see that, but 3,200 all the way back. It makes it light and nimble on its feet, but I feel like the 4,000 does almost exactly as good. And the trouble is when you get really turbulent wind and you have to get into a flare and you've got a very tight place to do it and you can't use this. I wanna be into flare here so that I can be slowed down when I touch down.
Yep.
So it's just too many variables that are outside of my control and Mother Nature does not care. She's gonna do what she's gonna do. So if we haven't already answered your question, leave it in the comments below. We'll do our best to answer questions when we see them. And we really appreciate you guys being here with us on Brian Phillips RC. We love doing this stuff. It's harder than it looks, especially when you have a lot of content. And we do a lot of content here, sometimes 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 videos a week. It just depends on the week, depends on the weather. And right now, Mother Nature has been the thing that I can't say.
Yeah.
Because it's been so windy.
Terrible.
So windy every day. So this is about as good as we've gotten and it's still not that great, okay? So we hope you guys understand. We love doing this and we want to give you as high a quality content as possible. And so what's coming next, you might ask? Well, you're probably seeing this right after we got back from Joe Knoll. So if we saw you at Joe Knoll, awesome. If you haven't seen us yet, that's because we published this before we went to Joe Knoll. But either way, we hope we'll see you there. We were there in 23. We're going to be there in 24, arriving sometime on Tuesday. We're going to be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then into Saturday. Saturday is kind of like a wrap-up day for a lot of people, including us, and we'll have to leave at some point to get to our flights. Keeping in mind, we are flying on an airplane there because our drive is just too long. We stretch it out. The time frame becomes almost a week and a half for us if we do that.
Yep.
And so we've decided to fly again, get a rental car and all that jazz. So if you guys want to help support us in that effort, let us know where you're going to be, what type of planes you're bringing. And if you want me to fly one of your planes, I would love to. You can meet the camera crew, you can meet me, we can chit chat it up, and it's going to be amazing. And seriously, I love doing that stuff. Meeting the people that are on the other side of the camera, which is pretty cool. And obviously getting to know you guys, our core and principal audience, because the guys at Knoll are pretty serious flyers. And so we really appreciate going and seeing other serious flyers. So it's an awesome experience. If you haven't ever done it, like 10,000 people camping in a 400-acre aerodrome. Our aerodrome is hardly an aerodrome. It's going to be more and more as the years go by, but we got 24 acres here. He's got 400. They got a 25-acre pond, guys. It's bigger than our property. That's pretty amazing. I think they call it a lake.
Yes.
And they fly real float planes off of it too. And then they have a mile-long strip that's grass, and there's outlets in it. That's so cool. So anyway, if you haven't already been there, check it out. Obviously, this is a great plane. You guys will like it if you enjoy it. I'm going to tell you my personal opinion, though. I like flying the Viper jet better. And it's a great plane. Soft tires, amazing landing, more wide out landing gear triangle. So it's got less of this. And I'm going to tell you this, secondly, and I know this is sort of going to come across as counterintuitive, especially at the end of a video about the 70. I love the 80. But I have a sweet spot for the F-16 because I grew up watching them fly. And you guys probably already know that from watching our videos. I love the F-16, but I have incredibly high expectations of jets. And I wish flaperons were in it when I took it out of the box. So Horizon, I know you're not going to listen to me on this because I've said it thousands of times. I would really like to see flaperons out of the box, even if people don't use them. I don't care. It should be in there. Okay, and I'm not the only one who thinks that. And I know you guys have had that conversation in product development, and some of you guys are thinking, but that's not the way this plane works. You got to get into a flare and blah, 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 whatever. I still want flaps. You know why? Because I can land at level and still bleed off a lot of inertia and just get that little bit of an edge, okay? I can go downhill and not pick up speed. That's a big deal. Then I can go into a flare. I can shut them off, or I can go into spoilerers. And the spoilerons will help me lose altitude and get into a flare. So there's a lot of reasons. Also, elevator to flap mix is huge. And I've done that on my 80 millimeter and it works really nicely. Also, thrust reverse on this still feels like maybe it's not quite enough to do what I need, but on the 80, it's very ballsy and it helps a lot. So if you guys want to see how we did pilot fatigue, just remember we kicked up our offset to 100 instead of minus 100 instead of minus 50. All right, so if you're in the market for either of those, when you follow the link for the F-16, you should be able to see the 80 as well. And, you know, just for kicks, if you want to check out our Viper footage, the 90 is awesome, but man, I really, really like the 70. It's fun, it's low stress. The only time you really get bit is when you come in for final and you have a base leg that's slow and low and she'll slip out from under you. And that'll ruin your day in a Viper. But this F-16, it doesn't do that. It does different behaviors. It feels more top heavy and a little bit over, a little understable if you really get it tail heavy, but that's how you get the flare. And that's how you get those beautiful touchdowns. But I'm gonna tell you what, man, cruising along those ventral fins, oh, it's so gorgeous. And just watching it peel out of that turn, high speed, you know, very easy to control. Going in a straight line at low altitude this thing is just easy to fly. Where it gets tricky is trying to land on something like that that's short. Okay. All right, that's all you get for tonight, guys. Hopefully we answered all your questions and we've helped to develop an opinion that you maybe is a little bit more educated than just watching the sales pitch from a particular company that of course wants you to buy it. Of course they want you to buy this. But Brian Phillips RC, we're here and we don't care what you buy. We just want you to be flying RC airplanes, helicopters, VTOLs, and quads because that's what we do and we love it. And it's one of the best immersive RC experiences. Guys, if these guys poop on us, it's gonna be, look at that, the wing on this one here.
It's all wonky looking.
It's all
wonk. They're gonna land right there.
Oh yeah, hi. These guys are like they're pre-ordering a place.
Yep.
Watch this, guys. Look, right over there. They can see it. They were sitting in our front yard on Saturday.
They're reserving their...
They're reserving their privilege. And guess what? Geese are extremely obnoxious.
Yeah.
I want some ducks, but the geese will scare off ducks. We'll have 200 geese in there one day. I've had it happen, and they'll chase a car off. It's crazy.
The kids will love that.
They will. Okay, that's all you get for tonight, guys. So much more on Brian Phillips right around the corner on Brian Phillips RC. If you guys didn't see what you want, go to brianphillipsrc.com. You can check it out. We probably already have it published because 2,000 plus videos deep. There's something there for everybody. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.